Today on the podcast, I have Hannah Burke. And Hannah started her wellness journey from a place of discomfort and sadness. She never ever wanted another woman to feel the way that she did, especially at the young age of 16. She became hyper focused on losing weight and cardio workouts, which resulted in a slew of hormonal and gut issues. She continued the cycle of overexercising, undereating, and using the birth control pill for about 2 years until she saw that her habits started to form in a close family member. She then decided that enough was enough and took her health into her own hands. She went to school at the Institute of Holistic Nutrition and reclaimed her power over her own health story. Since then, she has regulated her cycle, and for the most part, she has no acne. She went into this realm really wanting to help women and let them know that they are not alone and they have the power to reclaim their health just like she did. You're listening to the What the Gut podcast, where busy moms can come for a holistic approach to health and vitality. I'm Allison, your host, a holistic health and wellness coach. In this space, we'll dive into the intricacies of achieving holistic wellness while balancing the demands of daily life as a busy mom. What the Gut is your haven for navigating the challenges that come with juggling numerous tasks while aiming for a healthier, more balanced life. Join me as we uncover practical solutions to common health hurdles, from managing fatigue to understanding all things gut health. Through insightful discussions, actionable insights, and tailored lifestyle strategies, my goal here is to empower you to embrace a vibrant, nourishing life while saying goodbye to being overwhelmed and exhausted. So if you're ready to embark on this transformative journey towards holistic well-being, hit that subscribe button. Get ready to discover the secrets to thriving in motherhood while nurturing your overall wellness. A quick reminder, everything discussed here is for educational and empowering purposes only and is not intended for personalized medical advice. Consult your personal healthcare provider for personalized medical advice. Welcome to What the Gut, where we create our own path to holistic health, one episode at a time. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. I'm super excited to have you on the
I know.
podcast though, because I've never had any skin specialist, and I know there's such a connection between the gut and the skin. I'm really excited.
Oh, awesome. I'm so excited. I could talk about this forever.
Yeah. I love it. Hannah, I know you went to the Institute of Holistic Nutrition and you have your own journey with skin issues, and I have a million questions.
Yeah, for sure. So my journey into the holistic health space actually started with weightlifting, where I kind of fell in love in high school. And that led me to have a restrictive eating disorder. I fell into this really hard place in terms of health. I was also on the hormonal birth control pill at this point. That caused a bunch of other issues. And then from that, I had low stomach acid levels, candida, bloating, acne, all of the things that kind of come along with under eating and then the use of the birth control pill. So that state that I was in led me to the Institute of Holistic Nutrition, where I studied and just fell in love with women's health and hormones. And it actually started from my own journey with the acne part of it, but the women's health and hormones, one of my really good friends, she struggled with PCOS. And with that comes usually acne as well.
Yeah.
I was researching for her and I just fell in love with all things women's health, hormones, and then the skin kind of came later on because I realized what a big issue it was. And like, especially the confidence level, because in high school, when I was struggling the way that I did, that was one of the worst things, was having no confidence and not wanting to be in pictures, not wanting to go out. So just seeing that connection with skin health and then your confidence levels really pushed me in the direction of acne care.
Yeah, I love that. I think just anybody who has a story that got them into where they are, very similar to what I do. I had my own gut issues that led me to do what I do. Like, we're just so pumped up about it. I love that you have that passion behind you. What is acne and what's the connection there with your health? What does that have to do with it?
Yeah, for sure. So acne, by definition, is an inflammatory condition of the skin. So the root cause of acne, whether we think it's hormonal or gut, it's always rooted in inflammation, which of course your hormone levels and gut health influences. The actual pathology of acne is that when the sebaceous glands in our skin, which are just beside the hair follicles on our skin, produce too much oil in accumulation with dead skin cells, it clogs our pores, which we can get whiteheads or blackheads. But then when we get a bacterial or fungal overgrowth within those clogged pores is when we get the cystic or nodular acne. Usually the bacteria is C. acnes or the fungus Malassezia. And that's how acne actually comes to be.
It makes so much sense. I mean, like anything that is out of homeostasis is an inflammation issue. But just thinking about the connection with the skin, it's so interesting to me. So, for teenagers that really struggle with acne, is acne just a teenager thing? Because I know I'm dealing with it now. Is it normal for teenagers to have terrible acne?
I won't say normal, I'll say normalized because we do think that it's normal. So with teenagers, the statistic is like 80 to 90% of teens struggle with acne, 80% women, and then 90% men, just because they have that higher testosterone and androgen level. I wouldn't say that it's normal for teens because there's been some studies done on indigenous communities who live very like in tune with the land, how we used to live, who don't have acne at all. Like there is no prevalence of acne at all. So I think in our Western society and the way that we eat, and that's no fault of our own, it's the society we're in, right? That's really contributed to acne and the normalization of it in our teen years. But then going into adulthood, the statistic is still like 30 to 40% of people from the ages of 20 to 40 are still struggling with acne. It's becoming more and more of a thing as you age because people aren't dealing with the root cause of it when they're teenagers, right? Because it's just so normalized. Everybody thinks, yeah, it's totally fine to break out before your period, but your body's trying to tell you something about something so much more rooted in the body.
I know that your symptoms are always your body's way of telling you something, and listening to those symptoms and being more self-aware, that's something that's so important. As far as the root cause of acne, I know that you said it was inflammation. Whenever somebody's a teenager and they're breaking out a lot, I know that hormonal imbalance has to do with it, but the root cause of acne being inflammation, where do you think the inflammation is coming from? Just the environment, the foods we eat? What all do you see as being contributors to that?
In terms of teenagers, I do think it is hormone based. There's likely something in the gut going wrong as well. But just because there's so many hormonal changes going on throughout your teenage years, right? You're entering puberty. I would say a lot of it's hormonal based. I would say the hormonal imbalances are due to the food that we're eating, the xenoestrogens and endocrine disruptors that we're so often surrounded by. But in terms of just acne in general, like specifically adult acne, inflammation, I would say, is coming from a leaky gut or a dysbiotic gut, or even an infection in the gut, like Candida or H. pylori. That's, separating the cells of the intestinal lining, causing that leaky gut, which is, of course, going to cause an inflammation response.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about my own self in this way, and my gut healing journey has been a long one. Like it's not done, obviously, it's always going. But I had gut issues my entire life. As long as I could remember, the older I got after each child, everything just got worse. And I realized this is not normal. It's just being normalized, right? And so I really cleaned up my diet, my environment, the products I use, all of those kind of things. All of the big symptoms that I had have cleared up, but I never really struggled with acne per se. But now that I'm not on hormonal birth control, I'm starting to see acne at some points. What would you tell somebody like me to focus on?
Someone like you, just because coming off the hormonal birth control pill, you can get the androgen rebound, which are androgens increase sebum production from the skin. More sebum means more breakouts, right? From skin congestion. So for someone in your case, which is a lot of people, coming off birth control in their adult years, and all of a sudden they're breaking out and they're like, what is happening? Is that androgen rebound. So your male sex hormones just kind of spike coming off of birth control. It's kind of like a withdrawal thing. And then you're producing all this sebum because while you're on birth control, you actually lower your sebum production, which is why birth control works for people who are struggling with acne. But then when you get off, your testosterone is through the roof. You're producing way too much sebum, more than you ever have before, and you're breaking out like crazy. So I would focus on regulating your hormone levels, lowering testosterone, especially if you're experiencing other high testosterone symptoms like that facial hair growth or hair loss. So like spearmint tea, insulin regulation, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, just skincare in general. Is it as significant as we think in acne reduction? Or is it so much more of balancing your gut and your inflammation? How important is it to use all these products and wash your face twice a day and all of that?
Yeah, so I think that we kind of always go to skincare, which is totally fair. That was the first thing I did when I was struggling with acne was go to skincare. But it's kind of like a Band-Aid solution, right? And I'm not saying don't ever wash your face, like definitely wash your face at night, but it's not gonna stop the acne. Something else in the body is causing the acne. So doing topical treatments isn't gonna fix it. It might help it, but it's not gonna fix it. I don't wash my face in the morning because your face shouldn't be dirty in the morning. So I just gua sha, get some lymph moving, and then do a really good sunscreen to prevent scarring, which a lot of people, when you're done your acne journey and you have all these scars, it's so defeating. And then in the evening, doing an oil cleanser to get rid of any makeup, dirt, a gel cleanser to get rid of that oil that you just put on your face, a vitamin C serum or a vitamin C toner, again, to help with any scarring, and then a good non-comedogenic moisturizer. But I think we need to focus on internal skincare if we want to deal with our acne for sure.
Yeah, I love that you pointed that out. I was educated in the Western medicine space of skincare, dermatology, and so much of it is external. There is so much emphasis on external, very little on the internal. And the more that I studied that and then studied functional medicine, I was just like, this is so messed up. Like, it's so contradictory. Even in my clients, I've seen so much more success with their skin and my own skin. I was struggling more so with eczema and psoriasis before, but once I healed my gut, like all that went away. And I had been to a specialty dermatologist and done different skin treatments. And nobody ever said anything about, well, what is your diet like? What is your stress like? Anything about any other factor besides what products are you using? My next question for you is, how can someone holistically manage acne scarring?
Yeah, so acne scarring, like I said, can be really difficult for people. Kind of, you finally have that clear skin, but you have all these acne scars. Like it can be really discouraging. I always have clients start preventing acne scars as soon as we start working together. So that's using a vitamin C serum, using internal antioxidants.
I'm writing this down. Vitamin C, internal antioxidants.
Yes. And sunscreen. Always, always sunscreen. And I know people are like don't want to hear it because it's kind of scary to like put something on your face that might clog your pores, but always, always sunscreen just to prevent things from getting darker. I always recommend a zinc sunscreen for people
Okay.
struggling with acne, just because the chemical ones can be a bit harsh and the zinc's a physical barrier. And usually there's less endocrine disruptors in it, so I just like it more. But SPF wise, I just say do what you're comfortable with because it's already a scary thing putting sunscreen on acne prone skin.
Yeah. And as far as specific brands, do you have sunscreens that you recommend?
I do have one that I use every day, the Mad Hippie. It is my favorite. I absolutely love it.
Okay. Yes. I've used their products before, the Mad Hippie brand for the sunscreen on the
Yeah.
face. Okay. Awesome. As far as the vitamin C, do you recommend oral supplements for that, or do you recommend the external serum?
Yeah, so the vitamin C, again, I use the Mad Hippie vitamin C serum and their toner. I actually just started adding it into my skincare routine and it is amazing. And then internally, antioxidant wise, is eating just a lot of fruits and vegetables, a lot of color in your diet. But if you feel like you need to supplement it, supplementing with always powdered vitamin C in your water, just so you can absorb it better without getting any of the bowel issues that can come with high dose vitamin C.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I'll have to try that because some acne scarring, that's what I've started to deal with the past year or two since I had been off the birth control. So that's really interesting. For somebody like me who does feel like they have their gut pretty well put together, but still has acne, where would you start? Would you do any testing to see if there was anything specifically off?
Yeah, so the kind of test that I would do for hormonal acne, the first one is the Dutch cycle mapping test. If their acne is only ever in their late luteal phase, start of their menstrual phase, because then we know there's a hormonal imbalance somewhere there. But if it was just the typical hormonal acne, chin, jawline area all the time, I would do the Dutch complete just to check for androgen levels. And then with the Dutch complete, it actually shows you an enzyme that increases the potency of our androgens, so 5 alpha reductase. And it's really helpful to understand if that's overproduction when dealing with hormonal acne.
Interesting. Okay. So with the androgen rebound that we have, if we get off of hormonal birth control, how long does that rebound typically last in somebody where they have these acne flare-ups, or does that just really vary?
It really varies dependent
Okay.
on the person's diet, their lifestyle, their gut function, right? Because all of these different things also influence our androgen levels. So if
Right.
somebody is like super stressed out all the time, that's going to increase their androgen levels, which is going to be a problem if they're coming off birth control, right? So it's
Yeah.
very dependent on the specific person.
Yeah. Gotcha. You mentioned spearmint tea, different things to help reduce your testosterone, which might be causing some of this acne. What are some more practical tips for women that are in that position?
Yeah, so spearmint tea is always my first go-to just because it's so easy to add in. So 2 cups of organic spearmint tea every day for like 30 to 60 days, you'll start to see a difference. And it works so well for lowering your androgen levels. And it's just so easy to implement. If you have any deficiencies, vitamin D and zinc deficiencies will worsen your androgen symptoms. So making sure that you have adequate levels of those, but getting tested first. Dealing with any insulin resistance, usually I say to eat within a half hour to an hour of waking up just to get things rolling, and then eating every 3 to 4-ish hours, protein with every meal. If you want like a bowl of fruit, I'm not saying you can't have a bowl of fruit, but if you're gonna have a bowl of fruit, sprinkle some cinnamon, add some nuts or seeds, and then it's a really blood sugar friendly meal. Just doing those little kind of tweaks will go a long way lifestyle wise to lowering your androgen levels.
Yeah. Okay. I love that you pointed all of those things out. I harp on all of those so much of the time, making sure that you do eat breakfast. I think that's been something normalized in society is like, oh, just skip breakfast because
Yeah.
you can fast, but that starts your day and your blood sugar in such a terrible place and eating multiple meals throughout the day, grazing all day, that's been ingrained that that was the right thing to do at one point, but it's not. And then eating the protein, but not adding a healthy fat with it, that kind of thing can definitely affect our blood sugar. I know when a lot of people are on birth control, they don't realize that it is suppressing a lot of their hormones. That's why they're not having a lot of those symptoms that they were having before, maybe with heavy periods or acne. So, what are your tips for somebody who is just wanting to be preventative and just have healthy skin and isn't struggling with acne per se? Would you still say use a daily sunscreen with zinc and make sure you're eating the rainbow, eating all these antioxidants and phytonutrients, and just really focusing on your stress and gut health and everything that influences your microbiome?
Yeah. So somebody who just wanted to overall keep their skin really healthy, I would say eat the rainbow. I say that with everybody. Eat the rainbow, protect your gut, eat lots of fiber, make sure you're having at least one bowel movement every day. Just ensuring that your detox systems are working well so that you have hormone balance. So, if you drank a lot for like a week, if you were on vacation, really supporting your liver the following week or during that, or supporting your kidneys to avoid estrogen dominance, like just really supporting your detox pathways. Because I think, other than the liver, sometimes it gets neglected, but it's very important, right? Because your skin is your biggest detox organ. We don't really think of it as an organ, but it is our biggest organ, right? So I think it's very important that we understand that when we have acne breakouts or when we have sensitive skin or even, other things going on with the skin, it's your body trying to get rid of toxins. Something's going on. So just really supporting your everyday detox, which I'm not saying go do like a 5-day juice cleanse. Definitely not saying that. But,
Right.
drinking lots of water, eating enough fiber, having a lot of phytonutrients, a lot of dark leafy greens to feed the good guys in your gut, and just, an overall healthy lifestyle, which looks different for everybody. But if you're not struggling with acne, you're probably living pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love how you said too, don't just go and do a 5-day cleanse. I think some
Yeah.
people, when they hear detox, they jump the gun and try to do some kind of hardcore detox, but it's so important to mention you've got to prepare yourself for that. Like you can't just jump into a detox. That's something huge that I talk to my clients about. All of your drainage pathways have got to be working appropriately.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, do you ever have clients who come to you who have severe gut issues?
I mean, in terms of gut health, honestly, the biggest thing that I see is low stomach acid levels, which is what actually started my gut health journey, was that I had super low stomach acid levels and candida. I had a candida overgrowth. And then I've just seen the same thing in my clients. And the first marker is always really low stomach acid levels. And then when you have like low stomach acid levels, obviously you're going to be letting more pathogens into the GI tract, which makes you susceptible to H. pylori, which are huge drivers for acne.
So you said earlier that low vitamin D levels can increase your androgen levels. I have found with all of my clients and even in practice, everybody is deficient in vitamin D. I think that the United States as a whole is so deficient in vitamin D. Like we just don't get enough of it from sunlight or food. We've got to supplement. Pointing that out for one, for anybody out there. And low vitamin D, you can have depression from that. You can have brain fog. You can have dizziness. There's so many symptoms that you can have from low vitamin D. But you were saying that most of the time you see people with low stomach acid or candida overgrowth or yeast in the gut, and that's what you had as well. What were some symptoms that you had? What led you to think, oh, I need to look for this or test for this?
So how I found out that I had candida and low stomach acid, I had the acne. It actually wasn't so bad at the time, but I did have acne. I had awful bloating. I held a lot of my weight in my abdominal section. I had the bloating, the gas, constipation, all of those cardinal GI issues. I also had oral thrush, which at the time I was in school, so I didn't know what it meant. But then I did the NutriBody assessment. I don't know if you've ever used it in practice. It's awesome. I love it. But it came back that I had really low stomach acid levels, a sluggish liver. So I had like low bile production, which made sense because I wasn't absorbing any fats. I had super low EFAs. And then it also came up that I had candida. So I wasn't even looking for it when it happened to me. I just found it and I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense of all of these other things that I'm struggling with, right? And
Yeah.
then I just kept seeing that in clients, along with the liver issue, if there was low stomach acid levels, makes sense.
That's just a coincidence that you say
Yeah.
that. So I had a client recently who has a history of fatty liver issues, but they've got severely low stomach acid as well. And they have been on medications that suppress your stomach acid for such a long time. What are some other ways that somebody could have low stomach acid?
Yeah. Well, I think for me, it was just poor food combining, like not eating enough. And I was so stressed out during this time of my life. Like I had stress induced TMJ issues. I couldn't open my jaw all the way. Like I was a mess stress wise. And I think for me, stress was a huge driver for my low stomach acid.
Yeah. And you were in school too at the time, right?
Yeah, like I had just
Yeah.
graduated high school and then I went right into college at the Institute of Holistic Nutrition, which is a very intense program. So I
Yeah.
was definitely a mess cortisol wise.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I just think about myself. I went to school, had a baby, went to school, had a baby. Was and so it's like I've definitely been under that stress, but then with kids and a job in the mix, it's wow, okay, stress definitely was probably a huge contributor. But I know that there's certain medications that do suppress stomach acid as well. You take a pill, but then you have to take something else for the side effect of the pill. And then there's another one, and that's just how big pharma gets you right there.
Yep.
So yeah. Whenever you work with clients, how long do you work with them at a time?
12 weeks. Because our
Okay.
hormones are on like a 90-day cycle, I want to be with them for that first 90 days. So afterwards, things are a lot better for them. But throughout those 90 days, they have the support that they need to really change things. And then their next 90-day cycle, they can really start to see it. It's more about giving them the foundations and creating those habits that are going to be so, so helpful long term.
Yeah. Have you ever noticed correlation with exercise and your skin? I know that if you're doing a ton of cardio, that's going to make your cortisol go up more and that's going to impact it.
Yeah, so for me, I found when I'm weight training, I actually experience a lot less acne, and it's because weight training changes your body composition, which lowers androgens in women. So I've
Yeah.
noticed like cheek, jawline stuff, I don't break out as much when I'm weightlifting, which is great because I love weightlifting, but that's what I've noticed in myself. Yeah.
Okay. See, I've been doing a lot more weightlifting and I don't do a lot of cardio at all and still struggling with this. So need to figure out what the root cause is. But yeah, that's really interesting. So I know in your practice, you've mentioned you use different kinds of alternative stress management techniques. What are some of those other tools that you suggest to your clients that would help with their skin?
Yeah, so I don't typically go down the conventional stress management route like journaling and meditation. They're amazing if you have the headspace, but a lot of the times when you're struggling with acne or any honestly health issue, you're super stressed out about it. You're constantly thinking about it, and sitting there in your head for like 5 to 10 minutes is awful. I did it when I first started my health journey, and I just couldn't sit there in your own head, which is fine when you're starting your stress journey. I do EFT tapping, which is amazing. So it's tapping the meridian points on the body. You can just look up a meridian chart, and I do it usually from like the waist up. And it's just tapping them each point for like 10 seconds. They're the energy points of the body. They're similar to acupuncture, and I just tap each point for like 10 seconds. I think it takes a minute and 30 seconds to do it. It's super quick, but it lowers your cortisol by 40%. So if you're in a state where you're like, okay, everything's going wrong, I have no idea what to do, doing EFT tapping does wonders for that state.
Yeah, okay. I've done that before. I need to start doing that again. What are some other things that you do?
Yeah, so I do ocular yoga with some clients, which is basically just changing the focal points of the eyes, and it like resets the vagus nerve. It's awesome.
So whenever you tell them to do this, to try this, do you sit on the call and walk them through this or suggest certain resources that you have?
Yeah, so usually I'll do the first session on the call, like we'll go through it one-on-one just because it doesn't take very long. And then I'll send them a video resource afterwards. So they always have something to refer back to.
Okay. It's interesting. I have never heard of that one or done that. And I'm all about trying new things. So I'm going to have to look into that too. And then I know you do a few other things like cold exposure and sunshine. What do you say with that?
The sunshine in the morning, I do with every single client. Always, always, always. Even if they tell me they have no stress, we always do sunshine in the mornings just because it regulates your cortisol pattern. So you have that higher peak in the morning, and then it slowly tapers off throughout the end of the day. So I always do at least 10 minutes of sunshine first thing in the morning within a half hour of waking. Usually I'm like, go sip your tea, go sip your coffee, just hang out outside. And I've always gotten great feedback from it. Everybody's like, this is amazing. It's so relaxing. I absolutely love starting my day like this, which is great. And I also am a firm believer in like nature therapy. So just getting out in nature, I think, is so helpful. And then cold exposure, I actually don't do that with clients. I only do it for myself just because it's such a different experience to do cold exposure. And sometimes it's really awful. And I don't want to do that to somebody else just
Yeah.
yet. But I will do it to myself, and I do love it. And I think it really shows us how important the breath is. Cause like I've been doing cold plunges. I'm on the east coast of Canada right now. So I've been doing them in the ocean, and the ocean's freezing right now. But it's so nice to just get in the ocean, do a cold plunge, and really get in tune with your breathing.
Yeah. I think I'm preparing myself for that. But I know there's so many benefits to cold plunging. So that's awesome. The gut and the skin is all connected. It makes
Yeah.
sense. Everything we've been talking about, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything else, Hannah, that you want to leave our listeners with?
Yeah, I think just really understanding that regardless of what your skin is looking like, nobody's going to care as much as you think that they care. So just show up. Don't go to like, don't avoid things because of your skin, because nobody's going to care. They're only going to miss you from not being there. So just show up, be there, be you, and just go and be confident, because nobody cares what your skin looks like except for you. You're always hardest on yourself. Nobody else knows.
I love that. Hannah, this has been a really awesome episode. I was really glad that I got to ask you all these questions I've been wondering. And
Thank you so much.
this was so much fun. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of my journey on What the Gut podcast. For a deeper dive into today's topics, head over to allisonandwellness.com/whatthegut or find the detailed show notes linked below. Hey, and don't miss out on future episodes. Hit that subscribe button, and if you love this one, please leave me a review. Let's keep the conversation going over on Instagram. Connect with me and stay updated and engaged with my awesome community. Plus, share these valuable insights with your tribe. They deserve to feel as amazing as you do. You can find me at Allison_and_wellness on Instagram. Your support means the world to me. I'm looking forward to our next awesome chat. But until then, stay curious, don't drink too much coffee, keep the vibrant energy flowing, and take care of your gut. Catch you real soon. Oh, and hey, If you're ready to dive deeper into personalized wellness, check out my one-on-one health coaching program at allisonandwellness.com. Let's make your journey to holistic health truly transformative.